What is up, everybody? Happy Monday, and tomorrow is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day a little early. Now, I'm taking a break from the Parenting in the Internet radio style series because, well, those of you who've been following the blog probably already know this by now, but last week there was an absolute explosion of social media gaffe headlines, all kinds of stuff going on. I found some new blogs to follow. There were some articles on the subject that I discovered after making the last video in that series. And Connecticut actually had a local story that had continuing developments all over the place on Friday. So here I was recording the next segment, and quite frankly, I just got done with it and there was an update on the story. So I had to pretty much scrap the whole thing because my segment was kind of outdated because of that. So I'm waiting until the headlines die down. I think with the Whitney Houston stuff over the weekend, they probably will. The news folks will be covering the continuing developments and what happened there, which was a terrible and tragic loss. I mean, I hope, may she rest in peace. I mean, I practically grew up with Whitney Houston's power ballads or slow ballad type light rock songs on the radio all the time when I was a kid. So definitely a massive loss to the music world. While we're waiting for the headlines to quiet down a bit, there were a few tech issues that I encountered over the weekend and first thing this morning that are probably worth talking about. Now here are two Q-tips, and the tops of these Q-tips, you can't really see it because they're dried up and this isn't going to look well with the camera on YouTube, but the top ends of these Q-tips have a little bit of crap on the end that the others don't. They look like they were used to clean off an old video game. But these Q-tips weren't actually used to clean off a video game, they were used to clean off a video card, specifically my video card. Now, first thing in the morning, went to start this thing up, and I got one of those beep codes that told you something was physically not working right, and I was like, oh great, what am I going to have to replace now? And I looked in the motherboard manual, and the post code was very similar to the code for a graphics card that wasn't working. So I figured, you know what, let's reseat the graphics card, give it another shot. But when I had the graphics card out, it occurred to me, let's try cleaning the contacts on the graphics card like it's an old Nintendo game, and see what happens. So I did, and there was gray stuff all over the place on the end of the Q-tip. I was like, oh yeah, that's nice. Plugged it back in. I also cleaned off all the RAM contacts for good measure. They weren't even dirty. Plugged those back in, and it all started right up. Seriously. I mean, it's not like this is the first time I've ever had something like this happen. The reason I thought of it was because one time I had a sound card that was blue screening the computer all over the place, and I took it out and I was like, oh great, sound card's broken. But I figured, since we're going to throw the card out anyways, let's try cleaning it off and like it's an old Nintendo cartridge. And there was gray stuff on the Q-tip on that one too. Put it back in, the blue screening stopped. I mean, here I am these days thinking that because consoles all run off of CDs now, that I won't ever need to know how to clean cartridges ever again, and I've solved multiple computer problems just by cleaning contacts. Seriously, the dumbest things take down computers these days. Well, I'm glad there's at least some use left for my old experience with cleaning old game cartridges. Well, all this dirty connector stuff has really got me curious now, so let's go look at some old cards, try cleaning them off, and see what kind of results we get. Here's my big bleep bleep Asus video card. This is the last GeForce card I had before switching to all Radeons, because Radeons are usually more power efficient than Nvidia cards are these days. Power discussions aside, let's try cleaning the connectors. Nope, clean. Well, in the interest of time, let's only show the cards that actually had crap on the connectors. This is my Asus Stalker video card, the only video card I've ever owned that actually died on me. This thing kicked the bucket after less than a year. But this was before all the dirty connector stuff happened with my sound card and whatnot, so let's see if me replacing this card was a waste of money. Oh yeah, noticeable gray stuff. That tip is definitely darker than the other tip. Maybe I shouldn't have replaced this card. I'm gonna have to put it in the system now and see if it still works. But this was a couple of years ago, so it's not worth putting in any systems I'm running right now, but maybe a system I build out of used parts or something like that. I should throw this in there and see if I still get post errors or not. But yeah, noticeable gray stuff. I don't know if this is going to show up or not, but you can probably see, yeah, see that dirt on there? Versus the other end, which is pure cotton. Yeah, that's not good. Oh yeah, here's a little trip down memory lane going back to the early 2000s. Albatron Medusa GeForce 4 Ti 4800 SE. My last AGP card. Nice little AGP connectors there. This was actually a, I think it was a 4400 or a 4600, probably a 4400, I think. And Albatron basically upgraded the components and made it so that it could actually do more than a stock 4400. But it's an old AGP card, so I wouldn't use this in anything but a machine with an old motherboard. It's really a shame. I mean, most of the video cards that I've replaced have been because of performance rather than because of they broke or died or whatever. So, you know, I've been meaning to recycle some of these old cards for literally years, but I just haven't been able to get around to it. I guess you could say I'm a collector of retro electronics at this point. So, anywho, let's clean these connectors and see if there's anything on them. Tiny bit of gray stuff. It should be noted that none of these video cards have gotten as bad as some of my game cartridges did when I used to clean Nintendo and Super Nintendo games back in the day. So it shows just how sensitive computers are, that less gray stuff is enough to take down a computer. This never took down a computer though, and I can see why. All these years later, this card's nearly 10 years old and barely any gray stuff, and I've never cleaned these connectors before. Now, if you want blast from the past, here's what I'm talking about. An Asus NVIDIA TNT2 card from around 2000. This was the video card in the very first computer I ever had. Look at that. Passive cooling on the video processor. No heat sinks on the 16 megs of video RAM. AGP, and only a D-sub port with a little sticker that, you know, would go with the color-coded wires on the original computer. Oh, this thing is old. Never been cleaned, and we're talking a card that's over 10 years old, so let's check it out. It's got gray stuff! Just a tiny bit of gray stuff on the very bottom, which leads me to think it's probably from the edge of the plastic and not the connectors. This card never took down any systems, though, so it was never as bad as the one I cleaned this morning, or the Stalker card that I just cleaned right now. Okay, now just for reference, our last thing to clean this morning will be this old Paladin's Quest cartridge, which has been in and out of my Retro Duo for a while as I've been playing through this game. Been meaning to do some more Play Some Stuff videos on it because I took the last ones down because I thought I was too much of a motor mouth back when I first started Play Some Stuff. But anyways, let's put the Q-tip to this thing and see how dirty it's gotten in the last couple months. Oh yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is more what I'm used to here. Obviously the worst of the bunch, which just goes to show how hardy the old 16-bit systems were, because I wasn't having any trouble starting this game up, either in the Retro Duo or in the original Super Nintendo. But yeah, I guess computers have gotten a lot more sensitive to this kind of junk than the old consoles were. So yeah, that was interesting. Well, that was fun, and it's pretty interesting that silly little things like that can make a machine not start up. I'll have to keep an eye on this video card and see if this becomes a regular thing with it. Now, in all these cases, when there was gray stuff on the connectors, it was not anywhere near as bad as what I used to see on consoles back in the day. But, you know, computers like Tuxedo over here in the corner just have way more processing power and way more sensitivity to these kinds of things, I guess, than an old 16-bit video game system from back in the day, or even the original 8-bit gray box Nintendo. But in any event, that's enough cleaning connectors for now. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, note to self, next time, dust everything off before running the camera. Ooh, shiny.